Hi everyone, Sandra Vail here at Homesteading Ways, and today I'm going to show you how easy it is to make your own candied orange peel. Alrighty, I'm going to be using 5 oranges today. They're of average size, as you can see here. Go ahead and pick whatever oranges you want, probably anywhere between 4 and 6 for this recipe depending on size. These are just straight navel oranges, nothing special about them. And then I am peeling them with a vegetable peeler. Now the reason why I'm doing that as opposed to a knife is because it leaves behind more of the pith. You don't want the pith because that is what makes the peel bitter. So go ahead and go from top to bottom, if there is a top and bottom with an orange, but see from here to here. And I like the wider pieces. It makes it easier to dry, and you can always cut them up later if you need them smaller. But see, when you do that you get very little pith, and so that's good. So you just keep on going from top to bottom here until you get all your oranges peeled. And these oranges are still good. Don't you dare throw these oranges out. You just wrap them in some plastic wrap and go ahead and stick them in the fridge. Okay, we have all of our oranges peeled, and I have them in a pot here, a small pan with about 2.5 cups of water. And so we're going to get this turned on and we're going to get it to a boil. And once it's at a boil, we're going to turn the heat down and then simmer it for about 15 minutes. 15 to 20 minutes. And what this does is it not only softens the peel, but it helps to get rid of some of that bitterness from the leftover pith. Okay, I drained all the liquid off the orange peels, and I'm just letting them sit here now in this bowl while we get the syrup ready. So for that I put in a cup and about 1/3 of water. And then I have in here about 2 cups of sugar. Now the heat's not on yet, and I'm just going to stir this around to help get the sugar to dissolve a little bit before we turn the heat on. Okay, it's just about dissolved, most of it anyway, so I'm going to get my heat going. And what I'm going to do is get this to a boil, a really good hard boil. Okay, we're at a hard boil here, and that's where we're going to add our peels. You want these covered. Just go ahead and make sure they're all covered. Just do this if need be. Resist the urge to stir because you will run the risk of having it crystallize. So now turn this down as soon as your peels are in there, and then just have it at a simmer. You're going to want to simmer this 20 to 25 minutes. Kind of depends on, you know, how thick your peels are. That's still a little too high. I'm going to continue to turn my heat down until it's bubbling, but not a hard boil like that. Okay, I think we're doing good right there. And once the time is up, I'll get back with you guys. Okay, it has been just over 20 minutes, and I think they're ready. So the next step is going to be to take them out and put them on a cooling rack. If you cut them big enough, they should fit on there okay. And it's important to make sure you separate them. You don't want them getting stuck on each other. I wish I had better tongs, but somebody lost my other set. No names mentioned, Paul. But these are working okay for now. So what you're going to do after you have these set on here is you're going to let them dry out. Now how quickly they dry out really just kind of depends on how thick they are and how dry, less humidity is in your room. And in the winter, when a lot of people are doing this, it is pretty dry. So it can be anywhere from 2 hours to 10 hours. They're not going to dry completely. You want them to be tacky, so they're, when you touch them, they're sticky, but they're not full of syrup. They're not liquidy at all. So I'm going to time this out, and when I'm all done, I'll get back with you. Okay, two things I forgot to mention was the drying rack right here. I have underneath there a small cookie sheet with wax paper on it, because then that way it will catch all of the drippings, the syrup drippings, and then I can just easily toss that. But the drying rack, obviously it helps it to dry quicker because of the air being underneath. The airflow will just help it to dry that much quicker and be a little less sticky. But if you don't have one, you don't need one. You can put it directly on the paper, and you can use parchment paper too. You don't have to use wax paper. But also this, the syrup that you have left over, let it cool down and then put it in a glass jar. It'll stay good in your fridge for weeks, if not months. And this stuff is so good in a cup of tea. Just mix it in, it's lovely. But another really cool treat to do with this, I feel, is putting a teaspoon of it into a big mug of hot, steaming, spiced apple cider. Oh, it just gives it that little extra something. But you can use it for a lot of things, for flavorings, if you want to add it to a cake or whatever. You can do that too. But anyhow, those are a couple of my little tips. Alright, it's been just about over 2 hours and they are ready to go into the sugar coating. They are sticky, but not, wet. So just put them in there, move them around. Just get them coated. It just depends on how much you want. But the sugar also helps to keep them from sticking to each other. So if you want to store them, a glass jar, I think, is the best way to store them. But also, they're just easier to handle when it's on there. Now, these in particular, I plan on cutting up and using for recipes. It's actually going to go into a sweetbread. But these are great in muffins, even pancakes, whatever you'd like to put them in. And you can put them as a garnish on top of cakes or in drinks. It's just really nice. Or you can eat them by themselves. You can dip them in the sugar and then dip them in some chocolate. That's really good too. But anyhow, it is really simple to do. And you can do it with almost any citrus. If you want grapefruit and tangerine. Tangerine's kind of hard because the skin is so thin. But lemons and limes, go ahead and try them all. They're pretty simple. They're tasty. Even little kids love these because once they're cooked, they don't have that super tart bite to them. Well, anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you try these. You see how easy they are and how good they are too. If you want to make them into candy, you can also cut them differently. You can cut them into like more of a matchstick and have them like that too, because I've seen a lot of people eat them like that. And that's how they kind of tend to come from the store too. But anyhow, thumbs up the video if you liked it. I appreciate it. And if you're not a subscriber, go ahead and subscribe. That would be awesome of you. It was nice talking to you, and you take care.